Hey everybody, welcome to a Titanovix deck video, and today we're going to be looking at the Lord of the Rings cards and a deck, an EDH deck that includes all 9 of the Nazgûl. So what is a Nazgûl exactly? Well, good thing you asked. It is a former man, a former king of men that was, what would you say, lured by the ring of power or the rings of power and became servants of the Dark Lord, Sauron. And there was nine rings made for the world of men. And they're here in this form. You can see they still have their horsely possession and themselves. And they're also termed wraiths. What is cool about Nazgûl? Their name, for one, yes. The symbol, the Yoooo symbol, is very cool. And additionally, the fact that they are dark creatures. Yes, indeed, they're definitely servants of the night and the darkness. So, what do we got going on here? We have a 3-cost creature, 2 colorless, 1 black. Creature, Wraith Knight. It has Death Touch. When Nazgûl enters the battlefield, the ring tempts you. Whenever the ring tempts you, put a 1/1 counter on each Wraith you control. A deck can have up to 9 cards named Nazgûl. How fun. So, when this enters the battlefield, there will be a trigger involved, and if the trigger resolves, the Nazgûl will become a 2/3, de facto. So you get a 2/3 Death Touch for 3 mana. Okay, so that's kind of like our baseline. The real thing we're working for is the synergy with the Nazgûl, and also the mechanic of the ring tempting you. So let's just take a look at all the art, because I have all the art here. So we're just gonna go really slow and just kind of take a picture of, like, look at all these nice, cool Nazgûl here, and you know. This one really catches my eye. I really like this one a lot. This one is very cool. I just like the kind of the moonlight there. It's very nice. And they're kind of like in like kind of a little, looks like a farmer, like maybe a shire or something like that. It's very cool. Ooh, nice one there. Love the robe there. It's very cool. This one's just very, you know, kind of plain, but really sharp too. It's just very nice. Just love the horse there. Just kind of like a statuesque kind of wraith there. So yeah, we have all 9 of them here. This one is kind of more on the cartoony side, but the red eyes are really just there, and it's just very nice. And it looks like they're in the Dol-Amroth water there. It's very cool. Here is the, ooh, this one is just like a more realistic picture. It looks really nice. In fact, on the camera, I really like how it looks. Oh, this one is like such a classic, kind of with the swords, just like kind of sheath, kind of like a more muscular Nazgûl, but very cool, very cool. And here is the mechanic, the ring itself. So what does the ring do? And go step by step. I think it will help also seeing some of the cards that are associated with the ring, so you kind of get like an idea of what it means for the ring to be tempted. So a thing that you have to, I think it's okay to start from the back too, because there are some, there is a read along here on these token cards. So if we just start from the top, the ring tempts you. As the ring tempts you, you get an emblem named the ring. If you don't have one, then your emblem gains its next ability and you choose a creature you control to become or remain your ring bearer. The first part that is interesting about the ring tempting is you don't have to control a creature. If you have a card that just says like the ring tempts you, then the ring will tempt you itself. So you don't have to, you know, make a ring bearer. You can be tempted by the ring with or without a ring bearer or a creature, would be the verbiage. So the ring gains its ability in order from top to bottom. Once it gains an ability, it has the ability for the rest of the game. Each time the ring tempts you, you must choose a creature if you control one. Additionally, Each player can have only one emblem named the ring and only one ring bearer at a time. Right? So the ring can switch over. So if we have a ring bearer and we get tempted again, we can move, we can choose a different creature. We don't have to keep the same creature having the ring tempting or be the ring bearer. Okay, so what are the modes of the ring? Basically there's 4 modes here. They have to go in order. So the very first one is that whatever we name the ring bearer, that creature will become legendary. So we have, you know, for instance, a Nazgûl doesn't have legendary text, but if we have it become a ring bearer, it does become legendary. Very well. Additionally, whenever your ring bearer attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. Very nice. This is probably the main component, and this is kind of like what steers you into different deck planning. So that first mode, which is the most attainable, whenever your ring bearer attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. So that means that we're going to be in black. We're going to want to probably be in black because we want to take advantage of our graveyard. If we're going to be putting cards in the graveyard, then we want to be taking advantage of it as much as possible. So we're going to probably be thinking of a Graveyard Matters deck. Additionally, whenever your ring bearer becomes blocked by a creature, that creature's controller sacrifices it at the end of combat. It's just a kind of a nice little payoff. So we love that also about this. Additionally, whenever your ring bearer deals combat damage to a player, each opponent loses 3 life. All right, so very well. I would also say this kind of comes into play is the fact that this part about here that not only is legendary, it can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. That's an interesting first mode. So that means like that it's going to be hard to lose this creature when we go to combat with it, because a creature with a greater power than it won't be able to block it. So that's good to know. So if we have a high toughness creature, we're going to definitely be looking for that. That would be a nice payoff. And I'll go right into a card that I think is just fantastic with the Ring Tempt, especially against mana dorks, and you'll see why. Additionally, whenever your ring bearer deals combat damage to a player, each opponent loses 3 life. So that's like our last mode there. So it's just like a nice drain at the very end. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. So we got through our Nazgûl. So when we think about the Nazgûl and, you know, playing multiple Nazgûl in the Ring Tempt, we want to bring all the cards that are going to kind of work with this Ring Tempt mechanic. And we're going to make the Nazgûl very strong. We want to kind of have like a nice body there. Additionally, we want to be able to get into combat with it so that we can go ahead and draw and discard cards. That's what we want to do. We want to get that value of drawing and then discarding into our graveyard. So the Nazgûl will accomplish that for us. Additionally, there's some just really nice ring payoffs. For instance, Frodo. Now, Frodo is so cool, right? So Frodo will come down as a 1/3, and when this creature or another legendary creature enter the battlefield, we will get the Ring Tempted. It's fantastic. It just itself coming down will get the Ring Tempting. So why is this relevant? Well, I want you to think about like other opponents that perhaps are playing mana dorks. And maybe you were on the play, just maybe you got kind of lucky, right? And maybe the opponent, like maybe they just don't understand how this card works. But if you're able to go into combat with Frodo, you'll see if we make this our ring bearer, it must be blocked. And you can see it has that nice 1/3 toughness. So if there's a Bird of Paradise on the battlefield that's untapped, and or like a Llanowar Elf, for instance, and we go into combat and that creature is untapped for whatever reason, we go into combat with Frodo, and that creature must block Frodo. And if their toughness is 1 or less, it's going to die. It's like the ultimate mana dork destroyer. This thing just eats them up. It's just kind of wild. So I love that about Frodo. I think Frodo is fantastic, and it's just a great Ring Tempt payoff. Additionally, it's obviously, you know, Frodo has a best buddy here. Samwise is stout-hearted, just a nice 2-1 here. This one is super cool too, because if we can flash this in. If something, if we have a permanent card that goes from the graveyard to the battlefield on a turn, we can flash this in and then return it to our hand, and then the ring will tempt us. So it's just all great. So we just get that ring tempt, we get that value from the graveyard. And so now we're thinking, okay, we're going to be putting a lot of things in the graveyard. You know, what commander was going to help us like kind of get some sort of sacrifice synergy with this, things in the graveyard. So we're going to have to figure this out. So we're going to keep on looking through our, you know, Call of the Ring is just another fantastic ring tempt. We're going to be playing like a good amount of small creatures in this. So we're going to be not only getting the ring tempt, we're going to be paying that life and drawing a card on our upkeep. Just another sweet card for this deck. So many good tempt cards. Such a cool concept. You're just going to love it. You're just going to love this if you don't play it already. Schmeagle, absolutely crazy card. So if a creature died under our control this turn, the ring will tempt us. Okay, fine. Now, what happens if the ring tempts you with Schmeagle on the battlefield? Whenever the ring tempts you, target opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped, under your control, and the rest into their graveyard. So, each time we get a tempt, we're going to be revealing cards from the top of our opponent's library until they reveal a land card. And so you can see this could kind of get it out of hand kind of quick. You know, if we're getting enough tempts, we're just going to be putting lands. We're going to be milling our opponents and putting their lands onto our battlefield. It's just a really whacked out card. It's just a really crazy card. And this gets us into, okay, now we have graveyard, sacrifice synergy, and landfall. I'm not going to spoil it to you, but do you know what the commander is that I might be speaking of in these colors of Abzan? There's one in particular that accomplishes all these modes at once. Another very cool ring tempt you kind of payoff here is the Boromir. And we love Boromir. Boromir is a great, more even a CEDH card, where it's going to be really punishing for the opponents that want to like get out their fast mana. You know, anything that costs 0, or casting anything that costs 0. If there's no mana that's spent to cast it, you just counter it. So it really gets a very disruptive card. There's no doubt about it. And it is more, it's just a solid card in general. It has vigilance, a 3/3 body. It's just more solid than not. Additionally, it also has this interesting more text. So sacrifice Boromir, Ward of the Tower. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn, and the ring tempts you. All right. So, is there a way to kind of get this going to where the fact where if with this ring tempting, there must be some sort of combo, right? Yes, there is. And that's Errata-Drabic. So, I mean, you could just kind of set up like kind of a combo here. I've seen Elias Ilker also used as well. That would be like a draining combo between Errata-Drabic and Boromir. That would be a way to accomplish like infinite drain with Elias Ilker. We're going for like a more landfall heavy kind of synergy. So we could technically mill our opponents out by just having these 3 on the battlefield. Just sacking Boromir over and over again. The Errata-Drabic would bring it back. The ring would continue to tempt us over and over again. So because of the legendary clause, it's just kind of a way to get into that. So yeah, it's just basically infinite sacrifices. So it's just a very interesting text. Let's read Errata-Drabic. Whenever another legendary creature you control dies, create a token that's a copy of its creature, except it's not legendary, and it's a 2/2 black zombie. So we get through the text by basically the ring tempting it, and then we just continue the loop. So it's just very interesting, huh? Yeah, very interesting stuff. So yeah, I've seen it happen before. I've seen the combo kind of go off. And yeah, I mean, we could win that way, but we're not going to really be, it's just like kind of another sneaky win con. Another card that came out of the set, of course, is the Gitrog Monster. So just obviously everybody who plays Magic is well aware of this card. It's just a menace, and just once again, we're getting removal in different types of ways. We're not going to be like so heavy. We're going to be a little more of like a no brakes, all gas kind of deck. So, but we'll have like removal here, like Frodo could be good in the early game. Gitrog Masters could be good in all points of the game. You know, can be really good in the beginning points to snipe some mana dorks as well. So Gitrog Masters fits the bill. All right, so the commander and Abzan colors that will, from what we thought, what we were thinking about is good with the graveyard, good with sacrifice, and good with landfall. Okay, and there it is. Thalia and the Gitrog Monster. This is, it just fits all the modes that we need. It looks like it was kind of built for this kind of archetype. There's just these, you know, kind of things that we were just mentioning. It's going to be great in the graveyard. It's going to be great with our landfall and great with our sacrifice, like kind of our aristocrat. So it's a really good, flavorful card. What a great design. You know, you get your Orzhov colors there for your like kind of aristocrats, like sacrifice, you know, the graveyard synergy. Additionally, you get the green for like the landfall, and there's Thalia and the Gitrog Monster. It's just a what a pair up it is. And so for this card, it has the first strike death touch, which is kind of wild. And so it's very, very difficult to, it's basically anything without first strike is going to have a problem with this. It's a great blocker, of course. Anything that kind of gets in, tries to get in, will just die on contact with this. So it's just kind of fantastic. Additionally, you may play an additional land on each of our turns. That's very nice as well. Creatures and non-basic lands your opponents control enter the battlefield tap. So we get that additional land. That's crazy. So we can just, you know, once this comes down, we can start adding more lands to the battlefield. So like kind of an Oracle Modaya. And then also taxes our opponents too, kind of gives them their, they come in tapped, their creatures and the non-basic lands come in tapped as well. And then whenever Thalia and the Gitrog Monster attacks, sacrifice a creature or land, then draw a card. So there's that sacrifice synergy. And then we get to draw a card as well. It's just like, wow. So it's like a lot of value, like lots of text. Like you get a lot of text with all these kind of, the particular cards in this deck are just like a text overload. So we went over our Nazgûl, and there's another one. Ooh, I don't know if we saw that one. Kind of got left out, but yeah, we got all 9 in here. So that's kind of cool. We're going to be playing, of course, we love Skrelv. Of course, just love our protection to protect our nice little starter. Be great in our opener. Just keep all of our stuff safe. We love Skrelv to do that. Always does its job. Now we're going to accelerate. We're going to find our Soul Ring here. Of course, the 1 colorless add 2. We don't really have any, you know, in the opener, two colorless plays, but the Soul Ring is just going to be strong no matter what. It's just logically correct to play it. Here's some nice acceleration in a Dark Ritual. Fantastic card, of course. Then we have our couple mana dorks, not too many because we're playing landfall. So we want to kind of save the acceleration for like more spells that are going to be putting additional lands. So I'd say like the Soul Ring plus these 3 dorks are going to get our job done. So we have the Delighted Halfling, of course. We have our Bird and Avacyn's Pilgrim. So we get kind of a nice variety of color production there. Additionally, we're going to get right into our kind of generic landfall cards. Nature's Lore, 3 Visits, Farseek, and Cultivate. Just like the very solid ones, you know. Just those are the generic ones. And we're kind of go into the more interesting landfall aspects when we're dealing with these Abzan colors. So, Stitcher Supplier, that's going to be a fantastic way to build our yard. It's going to be a good sacrifice outlet for Thalia. Okay, so we want to definitely put lands in our graveyard. Springbloom Druid, additionally, what a perfect card for this deck. Sacrifice a land, get some basics out of our deck, and put them on the battlefield as well. All right, because we're going to want to put lands into our graveyard. That's kind of the point. So how do we derive the value from our graveyard? And what cards can accomplish that? So for instance, like a Rampaging Excavator, that's going to be a great way to play lands from our graveyard. Additionally, we have a Crucible of Worlds, so we may play lands with our graveyard from this as well. I also have in here Endless Restoration. So this is another card where we're basically sacrificing a land and then going ahead and putting 3 basic land cards on the battlefield. If we control a creature with power 4 or greater, that's Thalia, right? So she'll be able to accomplish that for us. That she'll meet that criteria, and we'll be ramping some more. We're just going to be hitting those lands. We're going to get all those lands. Harrow can do this as well. And I'll see if Cultivate and Restoration and Harrow are kind of be able to jive. I've added the Harrow in, and this is just a beautiful Harrow. You hear this is an old foil. I got this from one of the friends at the LGS. We did some trading. He's an older timer, so he has some very cool collections, and I ended up picking this up. So what a fantastic pull. What a great trade for this Harrow, and it's just a sweet old foil. It's beautiful. So we have this more kind of putting lands into our graveyard and deriving some benefit by putting them into play. More landfall for us. So there's that. That one's cool because you play at instant speed. Also the Blossoming Tortoise. That's just a way for us to just keep that land gas going from our graveyard. You know, we're going to be playing some fetches. So we're always going to have like that kind of benefit from the tortoise. So we're looking forward to the tortoise. Very nice. Augur of Autumn. This will also just work with Thalia because I kind of want to just explain a quick concept here. Like cards like Exploration and Azusa, Lost But Seeking, Elysian of the something, the Grove. Those cards, they're fantastic, right? But one of the things about those cards is they gas your lands out. So with Thalia and the Gitrog Monster, when we play that commander, we want to derive the benefit from the card. We don't want to fill in our deck with things that are just going to be so redundant. It's okay to have some additional redundancy, and we will. We're going to be playing cards like Oracle of Moldiah in here. We're going to be playing that kind of, you know, redundancy where we're going to have cards that also will play additional lands on turn. But we want to have those be the payoffs. We don't want to, you know, burn out on those things and lose value on other cards we could be playing. So Thalia, the Gitrog Monster, Oracle Moldiah, I'd say like I've played around with this deck enough where I think the Rampaging Excavator and the Crucible of Worlds will be sufficient. You know, the Blossoming Tortoise should help to get some of that value by putting cards into our graveyard, and we'll play around with it too. You know, but I feel like the Ancient Green Warden for 6 mana, for me, it's a little slow. It's just a little tad slow, and we're going to be wanting to like landfall into some bigger things, bigger spells, right? So those are kind of the ways. Augur of Autumn is great because you can play lands to the top of your graveyard. So we can basically get through those lands with a Thalia. If we run out of gas, we can, or we're running low on gas, we can play an Augur and then start playing lands from the top and getting to that gas and getting more value from our lands. So Augur of Autumn is great here. Oracle and Moldiah is great. With an Oracle and a Thalia and the Gitrog Monster on the battlefield, you could play up to 3 lands a turn. So you play your 1 land, and then you can play an additional land for each of them when they're on the battlefield. Fantastic. All right, and it doesn't end. We have another sneaky card. This is kind of like our, what would you say, like our 3rd Oracle of Moldiah is the Baloths Citadel. So we can do that. We can play our lands and cast spells from the top of our library. Very sneaky. I know. What an interesting landfall card this is, isn't it? So this is just a fantastic card too. We're going to want to work up to the baloths Citadel, and it's just appropriately priced. We're going to definitely be playing our gas from here with our Thalia. It's going to be perfect. And then it has that sneaky mode here. Sacrifice 10 online permanents. Each opponent loses 10 life. Whoa. Oh, baby. All right. Some additional landfall payoffs. Let's go. Let's just go through this pretty quick, guys. All right. So we have our Lotus Cobra, Tireless Provisioner, Nissa, and the Scootsworm, and the Fellow Dire Retreat. Okay. So we're getting all that juice there. And then we're going to get into some of our creatures, how we're going to win the game, right? So Vorinclex is fantastic. It will also fetch up some lands to keep. It's just perfect with Thalia. We're going to fetch up those forests. We're going to play them out. It's going to be great. Thalia is just going to love this card. It's going to let her, we're going to take those 2 forests when we get them with Thalia on the board, and they all fall on curve here. So 4 to 5. These come into play. Okay, play 2 more forests. Fantastic. All right. So, yeah, it's going to be great. Vorinclex. So those forests will not go wasted. Additionally, it has that 8 mana spell, and I'm thinking this is going to be fantastic. We have some really cool creatures in here that's going to help us kind of get there, to kind of finish the game. So that could be definitely a good choice to do the 8 mana transformation. Ashaya, just another crazy card that like works so well with our landfall. It just makes our creatures into lands too when they enter the battlefield, and it just gets so strong. Gitrog Monster, it's gonna get our gas going. In additional, it's like our 4th Oracle will die. You may play an additional land on each of our turns. When one or more land cards are put in our grave from anywhere, draw a card. I love that trigger. It seems so cool. Additionally, we have Elesh Norn to kind of double up all our landfall triggers, double up all our ring temps. It's a wild card in this deck. It's just absolutely insane. This card just makes the game end very quickly. So we can imagine just getting into these 2 guys here, Elesh Norn and Mother Machine, and I've done it before, and it's just like hundreds of damage, hundreds. So there's that. We have some sweet spells here. We have Rishkar's Expertise to draw us those cards, and also play cast a card with mana value or less casting cost from our hand without paying its mana cost. Very nice. More card draw with a Great Henge, also fantastic. And this was an interesting choice. I think it's going to be really cool as well. The Incarnation Technique, mill 5 cards, then return a creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield. We'll definitely be demonstrating this, let an opponent do it, and then we're going to mill 10 cards and return 2 creatures from our graveyard to the battlefield. Hopefully an Elesh Norn and a Crater Hoof, and then maybe ending the game. It'd be very cool. Same thing with Breach the Multiverse. This is just another kind of benefits us. We get to mill a lot of cards. We get to see a lot of choices. Just really adds into the our self-mill strategy. And then we'll get value from our opponents as well. Breach. This one's an interesting choice. I love this one for Thalia and the Gitrog Monster. So it's like basically our, we're playing a lot of gas. So, but we do want to play some removal, consider Swords of Plowshares. But this is what I think more fitted for this deck, where we're just going to basically be targeting Thalia, or not even having to target. Basically, all the creatures able to block target creature this turn. Oh yeah, it is. We do target Thalia, and then when it attacks, all the creatures able to block Thalia that turn will have to block it. And if the creature with power 4 or greater gains indestructible, so we'll assign. Hopefully, we'll get Thalia pretty strong, and then we can assign the combat damage the way we want to. And, 1 to each target is the ideal. So if Thalia has 5 power and she gets blocked by, 5 creatures, that would be fantastic. They would all die. We could just assign 1 damage to each of them. That would be a great result. So basically, the amount of power she has, we can just assign 1 damage that way, and the Death Touch will take care of the rest. So there's Word of the Challenge. Additionally, we have Blood on the Snow, just to wipe out just everything. We'll play in the Snowlands here, it's just a nice, interesting kind of board wipe mechanic that not all decks play, and I think it's important. Blood on the Snow is kind of like my go-to. I just really like it a lot. I like just to put the snow lands in there and kind of, you know, have a sweeper, you know, that will also return a creature or a planeswalker. But we don't have any planeswalkers in this deck. All right, and we'll also derive value from our graveyard, so we'll probably have a pretty decent creature in there. And last but not least, are the importance, of course, of our fetch lands to trigger the landfall, which they're just absolutely wild. These cards are just, they're just so crazy. I just can't. And then they come in untapped. Like the land you bring out is going to be coming in untapped. It's just insane. These fetch lands are just crazy, man. Where's my other one? I have white, black. Should have a white green one here somewhere. Maybe I just didn't afford it at the time. Oh, there it is. I got it, guys. So there's the windswept Teeth, and then our Marsh Flats, Vern Catacombs, Fable Passage, perfect. Then we have these cool bounce lands that will basically be bounce a land back so we can keep the land gas going, baby. All right, and here's the Dakmore Salvage. And this one's a kind of a cute one because we could sacrifice it to Thalia. We could like dredge it, put more cards into our graveyard, juice it up more, return it, sack it, kind of just do some funny things with it. I'm willing to try it. I'm willing to try it, man. Idantha Triome, just the tri-land. Then we have these very cool dual lands for our forests. We could fetch those with like our Farseek. That'd be nice. We can Nature's Lore this. We don't have things to do with our mana. Those are just nice snow lands that are duals. Overgrown Tomb or Shock. These are like our shock lands. We could also fetch those with our Nature's Lore 3 visits. It's, you know, it's just fantastic stuff. These ones in particular, the forests, right? And then we have our bond lands. These are the ones that will work because we're playing Commander, so they come in untapped. Yeah, we have our nice bond lands in here. City of Brass for our duels. We have some nice duels. We have our Malika Rebirth in here, so we have some nice multi-face cards that are also lands. These are just key for your landfall decks, guys. These can also be played from the top of your library as well with like an Oracle. Anything that exposes your top of your library, you can play these spells as lands. It's a rule, so you can they're just so strong. They can be played as spells or lands. Same things with all of these. These are just all very exceptional. These multi-faced spells. And then you have your channel lands here. We have the trio here that are just fantastic. Boseiju obviously is just fantastic. We all know what that does. And then we have our we're definitely favoring these the green and the white here. I probably should put in the Hive. I probably just didn't. I think 2 is fine, but I think this is fine the way it is. I think I went to order the Hive, but I just played the deck out. It was fine the way it was. Obviously, the Hive is probably just better. The Hive of the Eye Tyrant and the Cave, but it's both. I think it's fine, really. Really not really too you know, nitpicky on that. Then I have the Minas Tirith here, just a very cool legendary land that will just work to get us some gas. We have some like kind of card gas here in the form of lands in Minas Tirith. So this one works off attacking with creatures, and this one just deals with, you just have to pay into it to draw a card, and we lose life equal number of cards in our hand. So just some nice little refillers if we need to. You never know. We got our snow-covered plains in here. Some nice snow-covered forests. And snow-covered, yeah, we're still working on getting some matching ones, but we did our best. And our snow-covered swamps. So, that is the deck, everybody. Hope you have an excellent day. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you later.